Okay, there we go. Third time's a charm. That's what happens when the weather takes a turn. It never rains in the Okanagan in the summer, but so I'm the only one here. Okay, you're back. We're back. Okay, pretend that never didn't happen, and we'll just carry on. Okay. There we go. That's better. Okay, we'll just keep going. We'll pretend that didn't happen. Keep asking questions. Starting a greens enterprise, mostly salad and baby greens. I'd like to approach restaurants in the off season. What's your advice for approaching that time of year? Not really any different than it would be any other time of year. Just bring them product, bring them fresh sheets, give them samples, and then yeah. Do you know if earwigs are good or bad? I've never found a problem with earwigs. They're always in the crops, but not always, but like in head lettuce and things like that, they really have a tendency to get in there. You wash and they come out, but they don't, yeah, they're not really bad from what I can tell. Hey, from Oklahoma. When it started raining there, I started to hear at home. Oh, okay, started raining at the same time for you. Will you ever be in Portland? I don't know. I haven't done anything.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun. My wife says that would be fun. Yeah, I like Portland. It's cool.
We've only been to Albany.
That's right. We went to Albany for the, what's it called? Oh, what have you got, Violet? Oh, here we go. We've got a pumpkin here, you guys. What are your thoughts on food safety certification? I can't stand it. I mean, I see a need and reason to have food safety. Of course, it's in everybody's best interest to have food safety. But I hate when the government gets involved because it just turns into a racket. Love your channel, Curtis. I've learned so much. I'm on a large property and on a hill. Very few flat areas. Can I make Hingus tough? Any thoughts on terracing? What's that mean? What's Hingus? Yeah, terracing is the way to go if you're on a serious slope. If you're not on a major slope, though, it's not that necessary, and it depends on how rainy your climate is. If you're in a rainy climate, sometimes if the slope isn't extreme, there's no reason to terrace at all. It's just you actually want to move that water. Hey, you want to find mommy? Yeah. Oh, you dropped your cube. You dropped your cube, Violet. Hey, sorry about all those technical difficulties, guys, but we're back. It's all good. I see more and more people coming in. That's cool. Your daughter's lunch looks tasty. Hey, what's wrong, sweetie? Where's mommy? Where's mommy? Is she in the garden picking some stuff? She eats from the garden. That's all she eats. That's amazing. Katie makes her, steams her veggies from the garden in bone broth. We get local bone broth with our garden veggies. It's so good for her. How much you yield on a bed of Salanova? I yield 1 pound per linear foot on average, like conservative average. Probably like 1.3 pounds per linear foot when you calculate first and second cuts. But if you just get a one cut of Salanova, you'll get 50 pounds. If you get it to the right size, you can get more if you let it get bigger. Is it better to seek certification when you're first starting off very small? No, it's better to ask forgiveness than to ask permission. Just do it, man. Don't worry about all that stuff. You know, as long as you live in a country that isn't going to throw you in prison. Hey, where's the super chat? Hey, Spencer Mallet, dude. Hey, man, right on. Top 3 most profitable berries for Market Garden besides strawberry, blueberry, rat, sea berry, currants. Dude, those are all the good berries. Those are all the good berries, Spencer. But besides from that, I mean, geez, those are the best berries. Cherries can be pretty profitable. Cherries can be good. I don't know. That's what I would say to that, Spencer. Thank you, and thanks for that awesome testimonial. and that great headshot you gave me to put on my website. I appreciate that, brother. Any recommendations for organic pest control methods? If you're asking for things like sprays and stuff like that, no, I don't really have any recommendations. But insect netting, that's the way most farmers do it. You know, if you get flea beetle and you get aphids and all kinds of stuff like that, codling moths on your fruit, you're using nettings. That's what organic farmers are using. I'm not really that into the sprays. I'm talking about the organic ones. I find they're not really needed on really small farms. They are. I don't even know if they're needed at all, but it's the bigger farms that are using that kind of stuff because it's more monoculture, right? And so whether a big monoculture is organic or it's conventional, it's still going to attract a lot of pests because it's one type of thing that's giving off pheromones, and bugs are tuning into that and they're going for it. So on a 3/4 acre and a 1/10 acre of high rotation, right on. It's a lot of production. I know it's weather dependent, but could you share a water usage estimates for your gardens, guys? I did a video on that. I did a video on that exact one. Just search water in my channel, and I looked at the bills and everything, and I broke it down. Saffron. Yeah, if you live in the Middle East, dude. Nobody in North America grows that. I'm sure, like maybe some people grow it, but not on scale. It's a very low yielding crop. Like you have to have a lot of area dedicated to growing saffron. I've looked into it though, and you're probably asking about it for the same reason I thought about it, is that per pound or ounce or whatever, saffron is like the highest value thing you can grow. It's like as valuable as gold. But to be honest, I don't know much about growing it. I just know that it's grown in the Middle East. It's not like I haven't seen any large scale commercial operations in North America. Doesn't mean there aren't. I just haven't seen them. If somebody knows, chime in and put the link to the farm. Fruit orchard, if you had space for it. Yeah, I think Sanad is asking a question about adding fruit orchard. I think it's cool. I don't think, the nice thing about a small fruit orchard is if you go really small with fruit, like I'm talking where you have 4 cherry trees and 5 trees of this and so on and so forth, or maybe you espaliate them a bit more intensive, but you didn't have as much production as like a big orchard. I think it's a good thing, like can add a lot of value in like veggie box programs. And if you can do really good organic fruit, like some of the things that Spencer was mentioning, or cherries, you can get a really premium price even in local markets. I mean, it depends where you live, but organic fruit is high value. And so if you have the space, it's great. And they're not that much work. Like managing perennials isn't as much sort of day-to-day work as annuals is, but there is seasonal work. Like all of my friends in this area who run orchards and vineyards, a lot of the labor is just contracted. It's like bring them in for the first shoot thinning on the grapevines, and then bring them in a little bit later to prune them back more, and then bring them in for the harvest. Like it's not like you need a crew of labor all the time. On the big orchards, what you do need is you probably have a person running a tractor where they're going up and down the aisles and mowing. But that's about it. Like it can be stacked into a vegetable enterprise quite well. Hey Matt, I think I get lost on the reset. When can we see the new Jang setup? Dude, I know we are starting a non-microgrid site. The Jang setup is going to be out soon. I'll kind of give you a breakdown of it. I've been working, Paper Pot Co. has been in conversations with the people that distribute Jang, and we are going to be a Jang distributor. And I have been trialing this new Jang setup, and it's still not totally dialed in. I've actually been customizing it with stuff that you can't just get off the shelf. And so we're gonna have an announcement about that new Jang in. I'm just looking on my calendar here, and I can't really say much more than that. In about 2 weeks, we're gonna come out with some content about that new Jang setup. I've been testing it all season, really. I got a video too coming out. I just made this one yesterday. I've been testing this. I won't say much more than this. I've been testing this bottom watering system, and it has caused pandemonium in our greenhouse. And so you'll see this video that I got coming out. When's that one coming out? Next Friday or something like that, or next week sometime. Is certified organic expensive scam? Is it okay to use the term organically without certification? I wouldn't say it's an expensive scam. No. Certified organic. I mean, I buy certified organic products. Anytime I have to buy something that isn't from a farmer I know, we buy certified organic. That's like it, because that's at least somewhat of a verifiable third-party arbiter of trust. And so I think certified organic is great, and I think it's necessary. But there's other models out there. There's now certified naturally grown, which is actually, from my understanding of it, is similar to what certified organic was like when it started, because it used to be like farmer to farmer verified. It was sort of a cooperative type model, and it got really big. And I think the bureaucracy has annoyed a lot of farmers, and I think that's why there's a lot of growers, especially small growers, leaving certified organic and then going to something like naturally grown. Naturally grown verifies the paper pot transplanter, but certified organic doesn't. It's silly. Hey, Kyler. Hey, thanks for that super chat, dude. That's awesome. Oh, another one came in. You guys are great. Okay, let's get to both of you. I am planning a market farm for the 2019 season. I have 10 acres in the middle of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, I guess that is. I was planning 60 CSAs on a 3/4 and 1/10 acre high rotation to start with 2 people full time. Any advice on started? Yeah. If it's your first time doing a CSA, I would say you're dead on by keeping it at 60 CSAs for that 3/4 acre. I think you're like, that's a good number. You will be able to scale that. Like, you will be able to turn, if you've got a 3/4 acre dedicated to that, you'll be able to turn that probably up to a 200 member CSA. Once you really get your systems dialed in, you get your rotations locked up tight, where there's not a lot of gaps in between them. And I think, I think you're good. So 10th acre high rotation. Yeah, I mean, dude, that's a fantastic business model. I'm really excited to, let me know how that goes. Maybe sometime if I'm in your area, I'll come make a YouTube video about you. I think that's a really great business model. Yeah, I mean, your high rotation stuff's your cash flow, your CSAs, your long-term stuff. You might need more people. Two people working full-time managing the field production, you're good there, as long as they're relatively good and they're trained. You'll probably need, I would say, probably at least for 4 months of the season, like at the height of the season, you're going to need 2 more part-time people to help you do all the packing and probably with like some of the washing and then the packing and definitely the filling the boxes and stuff like that. But I think you're pretty on with what you got going on there. The good of the land. Thank you for the $50 and $20 super chat. That's awesome, you guys. I'm the museum director of an old mill pond and a full-time YouTuber. Oh, sweet. I got to check out your channel. We're having a large homestead festival at the museum in November, and I instantly thought of you as a speaker. Hey, right on. Depends on the date. I can tell you right now. Let's look at my calendar. I plan way ahead. I plan stuff like ideally at least 8 months ahead. And then kind of a late booking is like 6 months ahead. Sometimes I can do random stuff. November's kind of tight. I'll copy your email there, brother, and we'll get a conversation going and just see where it goes. I'll just add you in right here and just remember to email you there. Start smaller, Matt. Yeah, always start smaller. Hey, thank you. Oh, look. Thank you, Violet. Are you saying hello? Just checking things out. We're not really growing tomatoes on the farm anymore, but we have one row of tomatoes in the greenhouse and they're pumping. Best wishes and God bless. Thank you, Michael. God bless you too. I want to say thank you. You inspire me. Moving to Georgia from Chicago to buy a property and start a backyard farm. Awesome. Yeah. Is Chicago a good place to get out of, and Georgia a good place to go? Chicago's a big city. A big city. Oh, okay, Les, I like this question. What are my favorite post-hardcore bands? Oh man, Sunny Day Real Estate. Are they post-hardcore? I guess they are. Cave In. I really like Cave In. And it's been a long time since I listened to that kind of music. I really liked that band, Texas Is the Reason, back in the day, but I bet you if I listened to them now, I wouldn't like them as much, but I do know Sunny Day Real Estate and Cave In. I still like that stuff. At the Drive-In, totally, dude. Totally, exactly. I used to be so into music. That was my life, and I never, ever thought that I would do anything else besides music. Seriously. Like that's, when up until I was 28 years old, I just got a text message from Eric Schultz who asked me if we should announce our workshop soon. Yes, we should, Eric. I don't know if you're watching. And I have it marked on my calendar as Steadfast Farm, February 25th through March 1st. That's going to be awesome because Steadfast Farm, the new site, is right in this agri-hood, and it's so effing cool. I'm so pumped on that workshop. That's going to be great. So yeah, Eric, we will. Not sure. I just did on YouTube Live. Okay, what else have we got? Hey, Curtis, if you started again, would you plant into landscape fabric again and go straight? You know what? This is a good question. And I'm going to make a video for our Paper Pot channel. Hey, if you guys aren't subscribed to the Paper Pot channel, you should subscribe to the Paper Pot channel. That's another channel that I run for the Paper Pot company, and I just make videos specifically about the tools that we use, that Paper Pot sells. Yeah, so that's a good question. I would still do the landscape fabric, like especially if you're on new land. I mean, that's what's so cool about the landscape fabric stuff. I mean, it means you got a hand transplant, but you know, I did it for years. It's a great thing to do on the first season, like, and it depends on the size of your farm. If you're like under an acre, I would say it's worth it to invest in landscape fabric, even if you're only going to use it for 2 years, because it will save you so much weeding labor in those first 2 years that as you flush out the weeds by using that fabric, as you're stopping weeds from germinating or blowing in, you're just keeping your soil free of weeds. And so if you go to a paper pot transplanter after that, it'll be like butter because you're going to have so many less weed problems going in. So yeah, I would do that. And I think that's a good question. I worried about finding a job, establish myself in a new state where I can afford land. Oh, dude, I don't know about that. Somebody's asking me about Mark Funky Bunch is asking me establish himself in a new state. The homestead, can I get approved for a loan without a job? I don't know. That's a tough one. I tell you what, I had a hard time getting a loan after 5 years of rent. Mortgage laws are more stringent than the U.S. I think the U.S. still gives away money for pretty much next to nothing. Okay, what else have we got? Okay, Daniel from Micro Herb is here. I'm still interested in becoming an affiliate of some of your projects you sell. Yeah, cool. I appreciate that. We're not really doing affiliates for our stuff. Our margins are low that it's like it's hard to justify it because you know here's the honest truth with affiliate marketing. It's only worth, at least in my experience, it's only worth doing, like if you're offering affiliates to other people, it's only worth doing if their audience is bigger than yours. So like there's just no value of peppering out a bunch of affiliates because it takes time to set it up and all that. yeah, it's just not really worth it, to be honest. Can you plant garlic in landscape? Funny you mention that. I was talking about Roger to that just today, and yeah, we're gonna do it. Our farm is sort of changing direction this year, going to next year, kind of going towards more research and development and even scaling some things back. And we're planting a bunch of garlic this year just to sell off as like a one-off thing because it's kind of easy. And we're going to put it in the 6-inch landscape fabrics just that we used for our Salanova. What do you think of growing microgreens in coconut coir mats? Hey, if it works, great, do it. All those mats I've priced out are like 3 times more the cost of soil. So if you can do it for cheaper, then I think it's great. Or if that's all you have as an option, then all the power to you. I remembered you mentioned you started with 7K. Is that including your business permits? Yeah, man, business permits are nothing. But like, I don't even think there wasn't even a business permit. In Kelowna, like where I live, you only need a business permit if, I'm just going to change my position here a bit. If you're selling from your place of business. So because my farm has been selling at farmers markets and delivering to restaurants and taking the product somewhere else, we haven't needed to have a business permit. But you know, that's different in every city. So these kinds of questions are really hard to answer because like every municipality has their own rules. So, but that's my 2 cents on it. Sorry about moving the camera around here. Is there a way to grow even more intensive outdoors than the spin? Yeah, totally. I mean, that's what my stuff is. I made my stuff more intensive than the spin model because I showed different ways to do high rotation, especially with interplanting and things like that. But that stuff's all like, so, I mean, okay, let me speak to interplanting a little bit. It's a good subject, actually. I should make a video about it. And I have, but I could do more of a broad video about it now because I've done it in many different contexts. So you can do really cool interplanting. Like one example is, this one's in my book, you do squash in beds in the center, 18 inches apart, and then you can make a temporary bed in between right when you plant that squash where you might be able to do 1 or 2 cuts of a green or a radish crop or something like that, so you can double up space temporarily while that crop grows. I've done it with tomatoes where you hard prune the tomatoes, or so you interplant the tomatoes with greens in the spring. I've got videos on this too, to search interplanting. And then you grow those tomatoes all season, you hard prune them, and then you strip down the foliage. When the sun comes down in the sky in the fall, you can now plant the ground to greens again, so you can get multiple crops. So there's different ways to go super high rotation, even more than what Spin talked about. Am I coming to Toronto, Carmen? I was planning to come to Toronto actually, but I don't think that's happening now. So no, I don't think so. I don't think this season. Justin, when's my next book coming out? Oh, not for a while, because I don't even know what it'll be yet. I mean, I've got like 3 or 4 working things, but I'm kind of wrapped up in all the other. Hey, Kate, would you mind turning the music down a bit, babe? Yeah. Thanks. I don't know if that's affecting me, if you guys can hear me. It takes time to write a book, and it took me 18 months, I would say almost full-time hours to write that book. And I was running my farm at the same time, still making YouTube videos. It was a heinous time in my life. I think I could write a book again in 6 months though, but I would need dedicated time, which I just don't have right now. What is the minimum budget for marketing year 1 for a market garden what's the minimum budget for marketing? Just marketing? I don't know, not much. Marketing, you don't have to spend any money on marketing in the era of social media. Maybe a little bit on Facebook ad campaigns, but that's it. Do I have squirrels and rabbits? Not really. I mean, they're around. Rabbits, no. They killed all the rabbits in the late 90s in Kelowna. There was like a major call, and I've never seen one in the city since then, because there was like an infestation of them one year. I think it was my last year of high school, 98. There was like rabbits everywhere. Like there must have been millions of them. But no, squirrels aren't really an issue for us. We do have squirrels. They just don't really do anything to our crops. Mark Funky Bunch, do you consider having a back to Eden for personal use? So, I don't get the whole back to Eden thing, to be honest. I mean, if the idea of back to Eden is just lay down lots of mulch, like in the form of compost, yeah, I do back to Eden. But if it's, I mean, I watched videos of the guy Paul Gauthier in his back to Eden garden, and it's like it's wood chips. Maybe they're composted, but it's just row crops. Like I don't get that. I mean, I have beds in my front yard that are consolidated beds. I don't walk on them, and there's no till. I'm just laying compost and compost and compost. So if back to Eden, yeah, I do back to Eden, but maybe it isn't. I don't know. And I know that back to Eden didn't make that up. That's bio-intensive. It's the same thing that we're all doing, really. Do you compost or reuse your soil for microgreens? Yes, of course. I did a video on that. Search my channel. You would probably sell 100,000 books if you make one. I think I would. I don't think my book has sold 100,000 yet, though. The Urban Farmer. I think it's like, I haven't seen a statement in a while, but maybe I think it's like 50 grand or something like that. It's not that much. Spencer, another one, dude. You're super generous. Rhizomus weeds, Russian knapweed and field bindweed. The worst, dude. The worst. Landscape fabric. Do you landscape fabric with paper pot transplanter? Can we hear more about bottom watering system? Yeah. It's hard to landscape fabric with the paper pot. I mean, I've thought about different ways you can do it, but the more I've thought about it, the more it seems like it would be too much work. Like you couldn't just run a paper pot bed and then take a fabric with holes burnt in and just lay it over and expect all the crops to line up. There's no way that would work. I've thought about doing it in strips where you'd like plant a row and then you'd run a strip, like a 6-inch strip down, and then plant a row. But then it's like you'd have to have all these pins in. It'd be so much work. I couldn't see it working. However, if you're talking about fabrics on the walkways and fabrics on the perimeter, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so the bottom watering thing, it's okay, here's the thing in a nutshell with bottom watering that I've discovered with microgreens. There's kind of almost like there's a few different ways you could do it. I think 3. You have like one that's like you have a general sort of flood table, and that's how like some of the marijuana growers do it. And they have a flood table and it fills up and then it drains. And then there's like these mats. This is what I was using, and they basically act like a wicking underneath the flat, and then the flat takes the water up. And then there's like individual bottom watering where you'd have like a tray inside of a tray, and then you lift that tray up that has holes in the bottom, and then you have one that doesn't, and then you fill that up with a set amount of water, and then you put the tray back down. At Steadfast Farm, that's how they do it. They have like a cup, a measuring cup for the exact amount of water for each one, and they just go lift it up, dump it, lift it up, dump it, dump it. It's a small operation though. They might do 100 flats a week. What I found, I mean, you'll see the video, but it caused major fungus issues in our greenhouse. And I've never had fungus issues in the summer in our greenhouse, but we did this summer, and it's because of this bottom watering thing. The thing that isn't great about bottom watering is it's cool that you can automate your greenhouse. Like that's really cool, because then you can not go in there for days, but that's not necessarily true. You need to monitor microgreens. You need to see them. The great thing about watering is it doesn't actually take that long. It's to hand water 400 flats in a greenhouse might take you 15 minutes twice a day, so half an hour. That's it. But in that time when you're watering, you're also looking at each crop, and each crop also has different water needs. Like crops that were just uncovered, where the soil's still kind of bare, those crops need more water. But the crops that have tons of foliage that are probably going to be harvested the next day don't need much water. So you're making a lot of little micro decisions. And so I think there's a lot of value in actually just hand watering your microgreens. That's my thoughts on it, though. But thanks, Spencer. That's awesome. Um, so you're in Barbados, and we have monkeys and some purple golden carrots, golden beets. And we are concerned as they mature more. What type of mammals detergents would you recommend? Fencing, wire meshes. Some of the greenhouses I've seen in the tropics are greenhouses for all intents and purposes with like the frames and the bows and everything, and they're just covered in like a really fine wire mesh. And I've seen we stayed at this one Airbnb in Yalapa, Mexico, really nice place, and his garden was in a big greenhouse like the size of mine in the backyard, and but a really fine wire mesh just to keep like the really big bugs and birds and rodents out, and then everything was raised beds inside. So I think that is a good way. Yeah, squirrels can be brutal. I haven't found them to be that big of a deal though. Have I come across hydroponic fruit trees? No, I haven't. That seems crazy. I follow these guys on Instagram. They do hydroponic stuff. What are they called? I can't think of it. It'll come to me later. They just had like a whole greenhouse wiped out because there was a nutrient issue or something. A pump didn't run or something like that. That's the thing with that stuff. It's so fragile. It's just that all it takes is that one thing to knock that system out, and then it's dead overnight. Like I find that risky. I had a guy email me today about hydroponics too. I don't know why people obsess about hydroponics so much. We have good soil, and there's so many nutrients in the soil that are there for us. Like if you have good soil, I don't see the point in hydroponics economically. Like there's so much more you need to invest up front, and the system can be incredibly fragile, whereas you can set up soil-based farms for so cheap. I know people love technology, and I think that's a big part of it, but I don't like hydroponic food. I don't think it tastes good. I think soil-grown organic vegetables taste like nothing else. So I don't know. I don't get the hydroponic thing, but I don't want to, I'm sure there's cool stuff in there. I'm sure when Elon Musk takes us to Mars, we'll be eating hydroponic vegetables. But until then, I'm happy to eat soil-grown vegetables. Gabe Bennett, yeah, that's a good point. Talking about you said Plato's, but it's a Pareto. The Pareto principle seems to work against you in the standard comment section. 80 seems to be garbage. Like, do you have a video on, or you should? Have you ever considered disabling the comments? I don't know how to disable the comments actually. No, I like the comments, and I just don't pay attention to the crap. Like I can filter them actually. And no, the comments are good, even though there's a lot of haters. I noticed once you go past 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, you kind of get a lot of haters, but they're still a tiny percentage. They're just a noisy minority, No, but I think the comments are good because people ask me good questions and give me ideas, and that's how I roll. I was always like, when I was a musician, and I was like, being creative all the time, I loved feedback. That's how I used to make music, is I would jam with people and get sort of live feedback. I love that. That helps me. It keeps things fresh, and I like seeing other people's insights on things because sometimes I change my mind based on what people say. So no, I don't think I'll disable the comments. I just hide the haters. There's a little button as a creator. You can just hide them so they think they're posting and they see their post, but nobody else sees it. It's like Twitter shadow banning people. Christy, yeah, it's a good point, Christy. I know a guy in Brandon, Manitoba. He was like a student of mine, and he's doing a really cool CSA in like a health food. It's like a gym, and he consults people and he runs a CSA, like a really high-end CSA. I haven't talked to him in a couple of years though, so I don't know if he's still in business, but he's growing in soil and he's crushing it. I think if you just want to go year-round, then yes, but why? You don't have to go year-round farming. You can. There's nothing wrong with seasonal farming. Then you can farm for 8 months with your shoulder seasons in there, and then go away for 4 months. Jean Martin's wife, Moto, she does that every year. She like farms hard for 8 months and then pieces out in like, when does she leave? November, December, January, February. Yeah, November, December, January, February. She is off farming and she's traveling. She's like going places. It's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's funny. Cronus says, once you started farming, did you find yourself looking everywhere? That person has so much land, and then not using it to grow stuff. What a waste. Yeah, totally. I thought that. I still think that. But at the same time, I don't know. Most people don't have what it takes to be a farmer. And that's fine. It means that farmers have people to sell to. 30 by 100 greenhouse, mainly to lower and lean tomatoes. Is it financially worth it? Yeah, it can be. It absolutely can be. Jean Martin makes a ton on their greenhouses. Okay, 6 minutes, and then I'm gonna go have dinner with my family. Hey guys, keep your comments in my videos and tell me about cool farmers to check out. Because I won't necessarily make a dedicated trip because it's not really that economically viable with YouTube. However, if they're in a place that I'm going to, and sometimes I kind of just like manifest places and be like, I want to go there, and then I'll talk to somebody there, and then kind of some things come along. So I appreciate the suggestions of farmers to check out, because that's where I want to go with this channel more, is I want to just showcase other people, use this platform to just showcase other people doing cool stuff and get you inspired. Am I married? Yes. Hey, Curtis. And a place where you get a lot of rain, can you rely on rainwater from your farm? Yeah, but I would never rely solely on rainwater. I mean, if you are really rural and you've got lots of area, like space that you can collect rainwater, and you can do like a 10,000 liter cistern or something like that, sure, absolutely. That's what people do in New Zealand. Pretty much everywhere I've been in rural New Zealand, at least on the North Island, everybody collects their own rainwater. And that's water for their shower. It's water for their vegetable garden, like everything. So yeah, I would, if that was the option and that made sense. Hey, thanks, Lee. 5 pounds, cool, man. I copied your YouTube bender for low tunnels and it worked great. That's awesome. Scaled up. Yeah, no, Moonset Valley Farm. That's it. It's hard to scale that because it has to be really tough. Like if you're gonna make it out of wood, it's it's too dicey. It's good for the low tunnels. It's not good for the caterpillar tunnels. Or if you can make one out of steel, if you can bend or weld steel, you can do it. Advice for urban farmers who are brand new parents and losing their mind. Yeah, buckle your seatbelt. Yeah, dude, you're in for it. But that's awesome. That's life. Just charge it. Just give her. You'll make it work. You'll make it work. See it through. Parenting is awesome. I've been having a hard time with keeping my farm weed free. Do you have an efficient way? Yeah, many. Flame weeders, tarps, landscape fabrics, stale seed bedding, so timed stuff. All of these things are on my channel. So any of those keywords I said, you can go on my channel and search them. So tarps, flame weeding, landscape fabric, and stale seed bed. STALE seed bed. Stale seed bed is basically how it's a broad concept that means you prepare your bed to plant or your area, and then you leave it. So it's done through tillage, it's done through no tillage, it's done in many different ways. But the old school, or not that old school, but the way they do it on large scale farms is they'll till up these areas, these seed beds, these 4 foot wide seed beds with tractors, and then they'll let the soil, they'll water the soil or let it get rained on for like a week or two, and then they'll come in and they'll flame weed it, and then they'll plant. And then that's how you see a lot of these big farms in like California that get, I don't know if Earthbound Organics does it this way. If anybody knows about Earthbound, chime in. But that's how you see these big farms, organic farms doing greens on thousands of acres, perfectly weed-free beds. They're also growing fast-growing seeds too, fast-growing crops. But that's kind of, yeah, that's how you get weed-free. What's your opinion on black soldier fly fertilizer? I've never used one. Actually, I'd be kind of keen to try that. Are the 1-inch deep paper pot planters available in Canada? The flats, yeah, they are. It's just, it sucks for shipping, unfortunately, because the Paper Pot Co. is in San Diego or Vista. And, you know, NAFTA is a killer for us. It's lame because we're importing stuff from Japan. We don't benefit from NAFTA. So we pay huge, you know, import costs that are just basically just government. It's like nothing. It's just government insisting that you pay something. It sucks. So no, we don't have a warehouse in Canada. It's tough to justify it, to be honest. We've really looked at doing it. And I mean, I want to do it because I'm a Canadian. I live in Canada. I want to be able to sell stuff to Canadians. But it's hard to do business in Canada, to be honest. Like, our country is very regulated. I mean, the U.S. is regulated too. But I mean, what it comes down to too is we're regulated. There's a lot of taxes, and we don't have that big of a market. Whereas the US has 10 times or 15 times more people than Canada. So it's just like, it's easier to bootstrap a business in the US because it's just, we're in a niche market with all this stuff, but it's just that much bigger in the US that it's just easier to stuff down there, easier to sell stuff down there. Tips for moles and voles. Traps. You know, you can do that thing with the gas, like where you get, there's like kits for it too, where you pump some kind of propane into the holes and then you light it and it explodes and kills them all. If you don't want to do that, if you're looking for a humane way, I don't know. You know, watch my videos. When people ask me that, like, it's so broad. It's like, of course I have advice for starting a quarter acre. I wrote a whole book on it. Yeah. I've been watching your channel 2 years, had amazing success with cucumbers, live in Arizona. Extreme hot and cold. How do you deal with the cardboard with the paper pot after the crop harvest? You pull it out. I heard Ben Hartman, what he's doing is he's running a stirrup hoe underneath each chain along the bed, and then he just pulls them all out. He says that, I think that they come out easier that way. Does my online course offer more than my book? Way more, because it's multimedia. Hey, pumpkin! Oh, come here! Oh, come here! Oh, look, what have you got? Can I have some? It offers way more because it isn't limited by its size, whereas the book is. The publisher said to me, "We want 80,000 words." I think I wrote 120. We had to cut 40,000 words from my book. So the course has just not just that, but it's multimedia. It has like a lot of it has a group. We have a Facebook group that's really engaged. It's way more than my book, like by a huge order of magnitude. Okay. Oh, we gotta go get our dinner, hey? Can you wave, Violet? You want to wave to everybody? Wave over here. You want to wave? Hi. Hey, thank you, Tracy. That's very sweet. May God bless you and your family abundantly. Well, I think we have been, especially when this little one comes out. Hey, sweetie. You're an abundant little ball of love, aren't you? In North Texas, and have tons of squash. Oh, I bet. Oh yeah, vine borers. Man, that's the thing with those climates. You guys get gnarly pests in the south of the U.S. Right on, guys. Well, I'm gonna go to dinner with the family. Thanks for joining me. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but I think it looks like everybody came back who was there at first. So right on. So we'll do it again. First Friday of every month, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that next one is September 7th on a Friday, 5 p.m. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks